In short, we have a system of government in which we have no hands to define and design, and we continue with it, even when we know that it is not working for us. Those who brought it to us are now questioning the rightness of their invention, its deliverability, and its relevance today without before. The essence of any system of government is the welfare and the well-being of the people, all the people. Here, we must interrogate performance of democracy in the West where it originated from, and with all the inhibition of what we are left with over by the colonial power. Einstein said that it will amount to height of folly to continue to do the same thing that had not worked and expect different results. And that is the situation we find ourselves. We are here to stop being foolish and stupid. Can we look inward and outward to see what in our history, our culture, our tradition, our practice, our living experience over the years that we can learn from, adapt and adopt with practices everywhere for a changed system of government that will serve our purpose better and deliver. Can we? I believe we can, and that is why we are here. I believe in dialogue. Two heads are better than one, they say. Two good heads are better than one. But here, we have many, many heads. You are invited here to examine clinically the practice of liberal democracy, identify its shortcomings for our own society, and bring forth ideas and recommendations that can serve our purpose better, knowing human beings for what they are, and going by our experiences and experiences of others. We have to think as leaders of thought in the academy, or from the academia, and leaders of thought with some experience in politics. Initially, we were thinking of let us have the academia. We thought then, look, it's better we have a mix so that we don't have the sort of thing that a friend of mine said of academia. He said of another friend of mine who was an academic, that he always looked for practical theoretical solution to practical problems. Here, we want to bring practical and theoretical together. It is our hope that this first stage will prepare the ground for a second stage, which Professor Okebukola alluded to. And a third, if our thinking is going right and making progress. I welcome you to OPL, and please feel at home. Let me ask you to join me in thanking Professor Peter Okebukola and his staff for the efforts they had deployed since I brought up the idea of this initiative.
I'd like to put that question across. Are we really practicing Western liberal democracy in that sense, in the way that it was handed down? I'm not sure that we can answer that with 100% certainty. Because what we practice here in Africa be a variation on Western liberal democracy in the real sense of the word. So for us, as this discussion continues, I'd like to say that beyond all the challenges that we've listed, our own nature of practice of Western liberal democracy is something that we too must put on the table. I also believe very strongly that Africa, more than any other Western democracy, has more diversity. We're extremely diverse. And that diversity is clearly affecting our practice. So when we come and start talking about preferring solutions, I wonder the nature of our diversity as it relates to the solutions that we may prefer.
The second issue is the non-delivery of development outcomes for the people. I think we spend too much of our time when we promote liberal democracy in focusing on the processes rather than the development outcomes. And I think we need to also find a way to address that so that democracy can deliver. I'm a victim of what is popularly known in Nigeria as stomach infrastructure. You know where that came from. And the stomach infrastructure was, of course, informed by the belief. It's not, I must say, it's not completely correct, by the belief that I was focusing more on physical development of my state and not on bread and butter and giving money to voters. And we've seen the result of people giving money to voters winning elections. But ultimately, it undermines the development of the state. So I think we need to address development outcomes vis-a-vis stomach infrastructure. It's not an either-or. It's long-term and short-term development. And sequencing may be the way to address it. Every politician must figure out how to sequence in order not to lose the people.
Key challenges of the existing models, such as colonial legacy, cultural and traditional norms, socio-economic factors, weak institutions and strong individuals, corruption, economic and tribal divisions, pre-colonial conflict and instability, post-colonial challenges, and external influences. I identified four alternatives. One is communitarian democracy, which appears to be closer to our enclave here in Africa. We also have liquid democracy. Don't bother about the terminology. Liquid democracy is a democracy in which, issues are freely discussed, citizens are free to intermingle, all the barriers, socio-economic or political, are broken down, and there is true equality and representation. Number three, we have consensus democracy, and number four, we have deliberative democracy. If you can pick and mix this, if you can, do a potpourri of all this, you may probably get a model that can work for Africa. Towards the end of my paper, I identified 5 trajectories for the construction of a new model of democracy that can work in Africa. The first trajectory is socio-economic development and democratization. I said economic development plays a key role in supporting democratic consolidation in Africa.
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Next, number 2 is youth demographies and political engagement. Africa has a youthful population, and the political engagement of young people is vital to the future of democracy in Africa. The youth increasing access to education, information, and technology creates opportunities for active participation in democratic processes, including elections and civil society activities. Number 3 is governance and institutions. We need to rejig and recalibrate our governance institutions. What we have are weak institutions underpinned by strong individuals who at most have 4 years of tenure. In 4 years, they are gone, leaving behind weak institutions. We need to go back to the drawing board to build strong institutions that can withstand strong leaders, or leaders who appear to be strong or who aspire to be strong. Number 4, we need to look into security and conflict resolution. Addressing security challenges and promoting peaceful conflict resolution are pivotal for democratic consolidation and development in Africa.